Hey, take a look at this. I want to show you something, right? So, the top of the outskirts of Dubai, to me, this is beautiful. There's another, but this is beautiful here. Like just saying what's coming, what's already here. Like this is down the outskirts here. And as you can see that there's a lot of buildings that are here already, right? But then there's some buildings that are still being built. There's new developments that are over here. There's new futures, we call it new futures. And just the fact that I'm here, I got my kids with me, Tyler and Summer. I've got my wife with me. And just the fact that I am here is unbelievable to me. Like we've traveled all around the planet, different countries, and every time I visit a different place, it's still kind of surreal for me. It's still kind of unbelievable. It's still kind of I get this overwhelming feeling of gratitude and appreciation, and just think back to like where I came from and how has this become a reality. Les Brown says, the easiest thing for me to do was to do what I'm currently doing. The hardest thing was for me to believe that I could do it. So I'm gonna say that again. He says, the easiest thing for me to do was to do what I'm currently doing, right? The hardest thing for me to do was to get started, basically because I had this disbelief that I could do it. I think the same holds true for anyone, right? That gets to a point where, or that experiences something that one time for them was unbelievable in their head that they could achieve it. Some people might be watching this video and you might say, hey Ty, well, traveling, well hell, that's nothing, right? I travel all the time. And so do we. Now we travel a lot, right? But at one point, even like up until my 30s, like just doing this was like the most unbelievable thing ever. There's so many factors in my life, like how could I afford it? How could I, just the fear factor of flying alone, the fear factor of doing something that I've never done before, the fear factor of facing the unknown. You get to another country and what's there, right? You never know. The hardest thing for you to do, regardless of what it is in your life, is going to be believing that you can do it. The easiest thing is gonna be actually doing it. You know, I've spoken in front of crowds as much as 5,000, 7,000 people. And I never thought that I've never had that intention of getting to a point where I've spoken to crowds that large. Again, because it was so unbelievable, right? Thinking that getting in front of this audience would be one of the most challenging things ever. But then once finally getting there, it being the easiest thing. And sometimes when we're trying to do things, we want to do things, we desire to do things, it could be the loneliest place ever. And what I mean by that, it could be the loneliest place ever because you may be the only person that's looking to seek that goal. No one near you, no one close to you, no one in your area, no one that you personally know may be able to relate to what it is that you want to accomplish, that you desire to accomplish. There could be a lonely place to be. It could be a frustrating place to be. It could be a confusing place to be. And it could be a place where you can easily give up because you are the only person. And I spoke to thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people across the planet. And if you feel like that, there's nothing strange about you. There's people that are everywhere from all walks of life that feel the same way. The thing is, we always think that we're the only person. Right? We think that we're the only one because of our current situation, our current circumference of who we're around. like who we're currently around sometimes, whether it's just family, whether it's just friends, whether it's just associates. And if those people are not in alignment with having a belief or a mindset that anything is possible, and you do believe that anything is possible, you become the alien. You become the alien in your own head. You become the alien to those that you're around. And that's why it's so important to get around the right people. It's so important to get around people that are going to believe that you can do it. And sometimes even more, they have more belief in you than you might have in yourself initially. Like getting around people that are going to, not just saying like, oh yeah, I believe that you could do it, right? But in their act of believing that you can do it, in their being of believing that you can do it, on a cellular level believing that you can do it, right? Sometimes you're gonna have to depend on the strength and the belief and the imagination and the foolishness, and I'll say foolishness, yes, because sometimes you have to be so foolish in your beliefs that you can do something, and sometimes the people around you have to be so foolish in their beliefs that you can accomplish something that you don't realize that you can't. Sometimes you have to be so foolish in your belief that you can do something that you don't realize that you can't do it. If you're looking for a community, a group of people, I've been able to compile over the years, over the last decade and a half, I'm gonna move over here, I've been able to compile a group of people who all are of the same mindset, right? Who all are of the same belief that whatever they want to accomplish, they can accomplish it. Some of these people are in the midst of accomplishing things right now. Some of these people are like you and like me, still working on their mindset and it being a daily practice. So if you want to join our community, if you want to come and be part of this group of people that, again, from all walks of life, of all ages, both genders, a variety of world experiences, then I invite you to come in and join us over at kindlecastro.com/Facebook. Now, when you say, Ty, okay, well, Kindle Publishing, right? I know what that's about. I'm not inviting you to become part of a Kindle Publishing side of this community if you don't want to. What I am inviting you to be a part of is the community of believers, the community of big thinkers, the community of high achievers. One of the things that I make a priority in our community is mindset and personal development and believability, because that's the starting point of everything. I think that if you don't believe that you can do something, if you have this standard or this personal outlook about yourself and you're trying to go in and do something else, until you change that belief and that personal outlook about yourself, nothing happens. Because we tie ourselves to our personal identity, right? We tie ourselves to who we believe that we are, who we strongly believe that we are. And nothing changes until we change that belief. If we believe that we're a person that accomplishes things and gets things done, if we truly believe that down to our core, guess what? When things are put in front of us, we'll accomplish those things, we'll get those things done. But if we believe that we're a person that doesn't, then guess what? We won't. And the same applies for all areas of our lives, right? We believe that we're a person that I've got a shirt on right now that says stronger than sickle cell, right? So as many of you may know, I have sickle cell anemia, which is a chronic disease, something that you're born with. And initially, you know, when I was younger, I would be in the hospital dozens and dozens and hundreds of times. I've stayed in the hospital and have been admitted to the hospital literally hundreds of times for hours, days, weeks, and up to a month at a time, right? And that was my belief, that was my standard, right? Because I heard that was the standard going into these pain crises for people with sickle cell anemia. Having different parts of your body, from your lungs to your tissues and your cell tissues to your bones, breaking down on you. And I've had many of those things earlier on in life. I've had 2 hip replacements. My first one in my 20s, my second one in my 30s. I've had to have multiple blood transfusions at an early age. Like I said, I've had to learn how to walk all over again, learn how to use this arm that I'm holding my phone with all over again. And I would go in these pain crises, these sickle cell anemia crises, at least, at a minimum, once a week. At a minimum, once a week. And that was because that was my identity, right? I associated myself with someone who has sickle cell anemia. So I was part of this group, and that was our standard. That was our normal. That was what happened if you had sickle cell anemia. You would go through these crises. You would go through these bouts of being in severe pain and having to be hospitalized and given medicines like Demerol and morphine and lauded and being looked at as someone who was an abuser sometimes of drugs and just all types of things, right? Because of the level of pain that you would be in, and regardless of what you would be given at the hospital, it still wouldn't subside the pain. That was my identity until I learned that who we currently believe that we think we are is the furthest thing from the truth. And once we start to challenge that, all types of miracles start to happen. All types of doors start to open up. All types of things start to become possible for us. Now, I'm not telling you that if you have some type of a major health issue that you should ignore it and say, you know what, I don't have this. But I am telling you to question what it is that you believe about yourself. I am telling you to question what you believe your limitations are. And I'm asking you to not only question them, but as a mentor of mine, Stephen Pierce, would say, whenever you come across something that you think you can't do or that is beyond the realm of possibility for you, as he would say, is I want you to question, like, who taught you that? And what evidence do you have that it's true? Like, who taught you that and what evidence do you have that it's true? Like for me, for example, right? So traveling across the planet, that was I had this negative belief that it would take more money to do it. It would take more of X, or it would take more of Y. I would have to know people, etc., right? And I had to finally think about who taught me to believe that? Like, where the hell did I get that? And what evidence do I have that it's true? Sickle cell anemia, having sickle cell anemia. Who taught me to believe that I had to be in this pain crisis, that I had limitations, I couldn't go swimming, or I couldn't go skiing, or I couldn't do all of these things because it would result in me having a sickle cell anemia crisis? And I had to really evaluate myself over time and say, well, who taught me those things, which I knew, right? And that's coming from doctors, that's coming from medical reports, that's coming from the history of other people, and I'll talk about that in a minute. That's coming from the reality of other people who have sickle cell anemia. Not downplaying that. That's a very true thing. A lot of people have very bad health who have sickle cell anemia. But it was also coming from, like my parents, like my mom, right? Who had this belief that her child who had sickle cell anemia would go through these insane periods in his life because that's what she was supplied to by her doctors, right? And I also had a sister, Gwen, who was a few years older than me, who also had sickle cell anemia, and she had extremely bad health. You know, she went through kidney failure and she was organ failure, and she ended up passing away as a result of a complication of sickle cell anemia at a very young age, 27 years old. So from that standpoint of who taught you to believe this, right? I have all of those individuals. I have the experience of myself. I have the experience of other people who have sickle cell anemia. I have the doctors and their belief and their knowing what they've seen, right? I've had the reinforcement of my mom having her experiences and what she's seen with not only myself, but other people who have sickle cell anemia, hearing from the doctors, and then also her child, right? Gwendolyn Cohen, having sickle cell anemia and having this terrible health. So all of those things get passed on to the child, to me. So that's the first part. Who taught you to believe that you have these limitations as far as it relates to your health? And I have that, right? And then the second part is, what evidence do you have that it's true? So now in my case, I had tons of evidence, right? Because as I said, I was hospitalized literally hundreds of times. I would feel the pain. The pain is a very real thing. You had a pain in your head, your chest, you'd have acute chest syndrome, your extremities, like your wrist, your ankles. So lots of truth that it was there. But still having the mindset to say, you know what, I want to challenge both of these things. Challenge both of these things. Now, there's other areas of our lives where we don't even have the proof, right? And we don't even have someone that taught us, or the experiences that taught us that it's real, but we still limit ourselves. Like we don't have the proof that we can't run a business, but we still doubt and limit ourselves. We don't have the proof that we can't be in a successful relationship or marriage, but we still doubt ourselves. We don't have the proof and the evidence that we can't be fit and we can't be the ideal weight or the ideal body type that we want to be. But we still give ourselves these limitations. I'm big boned, or whatever it may be. And we still give ourselves these limitations without ever questioning who taught me to think this way and what evidence do I have that it's true. Right? So I hope this finds you well. I hope you start to really question some of your limiting beliefs. I hope you start to really, say to yourself, well, if I want to do X, Y, Z, I know that it's possible. I know that there's someone else that may not even be as intelligent, may not be as handsome, may not be as beautiful, may not be as determined, may not be as poor as I am, may not be as financially free as I am, right? Because both of those are an asset. Being poor is an asset when you want to do something, because it gives you that resourcefulness to be determined, and also having the finances to do something is an asset as well. I really think that not having the money to do something is more of an asset than having the money, but that's a whole nother video, and if you guys want to hear about that, then I'll tell you why my philosophy on not having the money gives you an advantage over someone who does have the money, and how being resourceful plays into that. But I want you to start questioning every single thing so far that you believe when it comes to your limitations, and I also want you to make it a point to get around other people that are the believers, that are the dreamers, right? That are the impossible thinkers. Get around people that make more money than you. Get around people that have better relationships than you. Get around people that are healthier than you, that are more fitter than you, that are happier than you, right? That have a greater belief in their God than you, or their religion than you. Get around people who are just doing things that may put you at a level of discomfort to the point where it becomes normal for you to see those things on a regular basis. Because that's another thing that holds us back. Another thing that holds us back is us saying that we want to accomplish something, but then we're foolish enough to say, I'm not going to put myself around those people that are accomplishing the thing that I want to do, because it doesn't feel comfortable. Because getting around those people makes me possibly feel less than. Because getting around those people makes me feel a little bit inadequate. You have to challenge yourself to get uncomfortable and put yourself in situations that are going to uncomfortably grow you. Uncomfortably grow you. When I was looking to get better at business, when I was looking to get better at finances, one of the things that I intentionally did was to surround myself with people that were doing much better than me in those areas, that were exponentially better than me, smarter than me, more brilliant than me, had more charisma than me in those areas, and it was the toughest, but most challenging thing for me to ever do initially, because it showed me a lot of my inadequacies. Even something like commenting or posting or liking on a video like this, people are uncomfortable with doing this. Like, they'll say that I want to achieve certain things, I want to visit certain countries, I want to give my family certain financial resources, or I want to do certain things. But then when they see a video like this, guess what happens? They clam up and they don't comment, or they don't even like or share or do any engagement at all. Those are the lurkers. They'll do that. They won't do anything because it puts them in a state of uncomfortableness. That's why if you're someone who creates videos or who create content like this, you may have the most amazing content, but 90% of the people that watch your videos, 90% of those that see your content, even if they agree with it, even if they get something out of it, because they are so uncomfortable with the message, even if they want to move in that direction, because they are so uncomfortable with themselves, even if they want to move in that direction, they won't even take the simple act of liking or commenting or sharing on your content. And I want you to make that change. I want you to be the first to make that change, all right? So go ahead, like, comment, share on this video. If you think that you've got something out of this, if I can share more of this like this, or more content like this, and you think it'll be beneficial to you or your children or your spouse, your significant, let me know. And I'll continue to put more videos out like this. I typically shoot these videos when I'm inspired or when I'm in a moment. I would love to be able to shoot them for you, even if it's just for you, even if you are the only person out of 1,000 people that see this video who has the balls to like, comment, or share it because it resonates with you, I will continue sharing them with you. I will continue shooting these videos for you. And then the second thing is, if you want to get around a group of like-minded people, a group of people that are the believers, that are the big thinkers, that are the people that don't see the possible in the word impossible, then I invite you to join us at kindlecashflow.com/Facebook, kindlecashflow.com/Facebook. You don't have to even be interested in Kindle publishing. I just want you to get around people like myself and like the tens of thousands of others that we have in our community that see a message like this and they love it, right? They see a message like this and it empowers them. It starts their day or it ends their night, right? Because they see the potential in it. So there you go. I'll see you soon. Hope you're well. I'm gonna make sure that my family is dressed and ready to go. Today we've got a day of dune buggying in the desert, camel riding, and just some really cool things, belly dancing, and not me, I won't be belly dancing. You guys don't want to see that. Maybe you do. Hell, if you want to see me belly dancing, I'm gonna go in and do that. That's another thing, right? It's the belief. It's your identity. Before, I'll leave you with this really quick thing. Before, I thought that in order to be a super successful person in business, you had to be this serious person. You had to be this serious person that was always on straight and narrow, right? And that was not me. I was always the person that liked to joke around and have fun and just be a little bit more relaxed and bring pleasure to the environment. And for many years, I battled with that. You know, do I goof off? Do I joke around? Does that, make me less of a serious business person? Will the audience not take me as serious? And I finally came to the decision that if something enlightens me and I have fun with it, whether it's a joke, whether it's a statement or whatever, and I feel that it's something that I can share with you, I'm gonna do it. So if you like comedy, if you like having fun, if you like laughing, if you like smiling, expect to see that from me as well. I'll see you soon. Stay well. Bye-bye.